Now, welcome to another edition of News from Naboo with Thor's Lightning Takes. And let's get right to the news.
First up, we're going to talk about some Andor. Tony Gilroy says Lucasfilm left them to do what they wanted with the show.
Curious.
This article's coming out of Star Wars Newsnet. There was an interview with The Wrap where Tony Gilroy kind of walked fans through the process of how the series came to be. He gave a few interesting new details. He mentioned before how Lucasfilm, when they set out to make the Cassian Andor series, they didn't have the money to make the show Gilroy had proposed. But in this new interview, Gilroy also addressed how Lucasfilm barely blinked when he included a brothel in the opening scene and how the series will explore the Empire's regime all across the galaxy in one of, if not the most ambitious Star Wars project ever.
Didn't blink at a brothel.
No.
I mean, why should they, though?
Maybe they just gave up at that point. They're okay.
Let's be honest. It's not like Star Wars has always been squeaky clean family entertainment, completely wholesome. I mean, we have Slave Leia. Sorry, Hutt Slayer Leia. We don't call her Slave Leia anymore.
She wasn't a Hutt Slayer till she killed him. Before then, she was Slave Leia.
I mean, we have Anakin as a slave with his mom in episode 1. They have bombs in their body to blow up. So it's not like we've never seen
slaves in the sequel trilogy. Those children.
Yeah.
I think the theme of Star Wars... No, kidding.
Don't go there. No, I mean, it's not like it's never had more darker ideas, right? I mean, come on now. I think we can assume Jabba with, we can look at Ula, we can look at what he did to Leia. He likes to keep some good-looking women in skimpy outfits, and
I wonder what his wife thinks.
Probably, I wonder what his son thinks.
Oh,
good old Rada there. But I mean, come on. It's not like it's the strangest thing ever. It's not like we're like, oh my god, there's brothels in Star Wars. We're talking about a giant galaxy. We're talking about a galaxy filled with different planets and that has an underworld and all these things that we know about. Yeah, it's just the first time you really kind of okay, we have them. Well, not the first time. Basically had one in Book of Boba Fett too.
Yeah.
So, all right, I don't
polish your helmet. That's what,
oh god,
that's we're not going. Said.
We're not going to that again.
All right. So Gilroy explained how once he convinced Lucasfilm to do the show, the company barely gave him notes. He says, "We've had very little adult supervision along the way. No kidding. We're very much left to our own devices here. It's a very small brain trust of people that figure out what to do."
The Lucasfilm story group showing their worth again.
Just like that. Yeah, you're making a show on Cassian?
Yeah.
Just don't conflict with how he dies.
I mean, honestly, what did they do at this point? I honestly don't know. I don't get it. They were, and I'm not saying, we've always had this, a lot of people have the misconception that they kind of drive the stories or come up with them. That's never what they've done. They're the keepers of continuity, essentially, right? They're supposed to be, all right, Tony Gilroy's doing this with his show and they're doing this over here. Let's make sure they don't contradict or anything like that, or that they are Star Wars ideas. But what if they're not watching this show, which is perhaps, the darkest and grittiest and most serious Star Wars has ever been, to kind of keep it reined in maybe a little bit. What are they doing? I can't help but Office Space. Just what exactly do you do here? The Bobs are going to come in and they're gonna clear out that story group for doing nothing.
Chapek and Iger.
Oh, the Bobs and the Bobs.
The Bobs.
Yeah.
All right. So one of the main goals of the show is to show the extent to which the Empire has taken over the galaxy. This is one of the main things that drove Gilroy to tell this story. He says, "It also is absolutely canonically pure. This is the moment as the Empire is absorbing everything else as they're spreading. One of the things they're doing is nationalizing all these corporate planets. By the time we're done, we'll have shown all the ways the Empire, with all of its fantastic appetites, is being satisfied around the galaxy, in every variety of way. Environmentally, corporately, economically, socially, every way." And it was a cool way to do that.
I like that he's it's pure canon, but Lucasfilm isn't paying attention to what we're doing. Which one is it exactly?
As soon as he makes it and puts it on the screen, it becomes canon. So.
This is true. So he's like, yeah, it's pure canon, because as soon as it's officially done, it's canon, right? No matter what.
I do like that he is focusing on showing us the Empire and how terrifying they are to the everyday people. I know we talked about that.
Yeah.
But
about how even one TIE fighter now feels terrifying, because when you put that in context of the guy on the ground, you really get, oh, that's,
Well, we already saw them take away that corporate security group was the police of this sector, And they took that away. They're nationalizing all of them, and they're saying, no, you guys don't get to live the way you want anymore. Now you have to follow Imperial rule. There's no looking the other way. This is how it's done through the rest of the galaxy. This is how it'll be done to you, too.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
The Iron Fist is closing.
Andor has been advertised for a while that it didn't use the volume for production, but instead built real film sets on location. Gilroy kind of explains the limitations the volume presented and that prevented the crew from using it to film the show. He says, "It's a pretty simplistic tool with some pretty serious limitations. It's a box and you can go in, but you can't go past a certain point. It's very expensive, but the main thing about it is you have a completely different workflow. We're doing 12 hours of 190 speaking parts along the way. We're going for an abundant show, and economically, it's a disaster to do that. And you can't miss. You can't sort of say, oh, I'm going to be a vegetarian for the next 2 days, then I'm going back to eating meat. You have to commit. It's a disagreement, or an argument, or a rejection. It's just a matter of work and flow." Well, you'd probably have to film so many more scenes because everything has to be a little bit smaller to make everything look big again, maybe? I don't know.
I don't know. Like I said, the volume has its limitations for sure.
For sure. And
it's impressive technology and it's probably the future, but right now I think it still has there's just things like natural lighting that cannot be I don't think they can be duplicated perfectly. Like you can tell you're actually outside somewhere. Like you can watch A New Hope and tell we're in the Tunisian desert right now, whereas I can watch Kenobi and be like, yeah, we're on a stage somewhere with artificial lighting. It's not a real desert. We're not in Tunisia anymore, folks.
He also explained that Andor will not be using cheap fan service as a tool in the box. Every character that appears in the show does so because they have a reason to be there. That's the case, for example, Saw Gerrera. He said, "Popping up is not something we're doing. We're not doing any popping up. If people are meant to be there, I mean, it's logical to assume that if we're going to go to Yavin at the end, then there'd be who's in Yavin." And
yeah, like the Ghost Crew.
Yeah, they could literally be there.
Yeah,
Makes
or Ahsoka
sense.
stops by for the afternoon.
And it's logical to assume that everyone knows Forrest Whitaker's in here now, as Saw Gerrera figures prominently into Rogue. But no, there won't be anything gratuitous.
Yeah, that's
if
what
people are there, they're there for a reason.
I agree with that. That's what fan service is. It's blatant. It's gratuitous. It's like, well, there's no other reason other than you just wanted the character in there.
And that's like we talked about though. I think that's more of the modern day look at what the word fan service means, because fan service just literally means putting something in there for fans.
Yes.
We've kind of now taken it and said, now it's gratuitous. Now it's over the top or pop up cameos.
All Star Wars is for fans, right? Or it should be. Why else keep using the same universe and the same, characters if not for the fans who already like the characters and the universe? I mean, it's everything Star Wars is to a degree fan service. It's just the degree that separates whether it's good or bad fan service.
All right, let's move on then to our second piece today. Christian Bale would love to join Star Wars one day.
Oh, you didn't bring this one up. I've seen this
all
over the internet. I just keep shaking my head. Come on, it's not even a story.
Christian Bale, also known as I'm Batman.
Yes.
As well as an Academy Award-winning actor. He did an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, during which they asked him about the Star Wars franchise. I don't know why they asked him, unless they were pre-prepped to ask. Yeah. And he said he would love to one day be, a part of a Star Wars movie, even if it's just as a stormtrooper. Here's what he actually said, so that you can stop rolling your eyes at me.
Yes.
"All I ever wanted in Star Wars was to be in a Star Wars outfit and hit my head on a door or something as I walked through. The real nerds who watched Star Wars way too many times always knew about that one scene where the stormtrooper hit his head on the door as he comes through. I wanted to be that guy. That was it. But look, if I'm fortunate enough to be more than that, oh man, yeah. What a delight that would be. I've still got the figures from when I was little. I also know Kathy Kennedy very well because she was working with Spielberg when I did Empire of the Sun, and now she runs the Star Wars universe. We do know Bale has been very selective when it comes to roles, with the exception seeming to be Thor: Love and Thunder. He
only got the part of the script that involved him. He didn't know how goofy the rest of it was.
He's one of the biggest actors in the world in talent and box office draw. So it's interesting when someone with his caliber expresses an interest to be in the Star Wars sandbox. I mean, Daniel Craig was a stormtrooper.
Yeah, well.
And he says he'd be perfectly fine with that too. He just wants to cameo on. Maybe, ever since this interview came out, we've had fan edits created to show Bale's abilities with a lightsaber. I personally love the Batman Begins clip where he's swinging his lightsaber. I mean, he looked like he belonged in Star Wars already.
Sure. I've seen this start all over the internet suddenly because.
So that's why we shouldn't have talked.
No. I kind of rolled my eyes because he kind of. I mean, he took it. I guess it was a good interview, a good response because he did take kind of lightheartedly, but said, "Yeah, I would actually be interested." So there is something there. It's one of those where every news outlet felt the need to.
I know we all wanted Keanu Reeves
it.
to be Revan, but
he just looks
Christian
like
Bale.
There's something about a look. I mean, I don't know that he'd actually be a good Revan.
Christian Bale could be.
Christian Bale could be a good Revan. Keanu Reeves has like the look, and he might be the most universally liked person in Hollywood. I don't know. I've never met anyone who doesn't like Keanu Reeves, and I know someone like I don't like him, Thor, which okay, I'm sure someone doesn't. But my point is, everybody seems to love the guy. And
What's your favorite Keanu Reeves movie?
Probably Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Really? Mine is Johnny Mnemonic.
Really?
I loved him in Johnny
Mnemonic.
Mnemonic.
Made me watch it. I had actually never seen it until
dolphin
years ago. Made me rewatch it or watch it the first time.
I think it's such a funny movie. It's one of those movies that's so bad it's fantastic.
No, I think Matrix is probably my favorite movie. I love Bill and Ted 1, 2, and actually the third one was pretty good too.
Not John
Bogus
Wick?
Journey, I think, is my favorite of the three. John Wick's it's fine. I know everybody loves him. I know I'm going to get hated on for that. John Wick's fine. I like, Matrix. The first Matrix movie is a classic.
Well, it's what you grew up with Keanu Reeves too.
It was the last movie I saw before The Phantom Menace came out. I'll never forget going to the theater like, oh, I got to watch this Matrix movie instead of The Phantom Menace, which comes out in a few weeks. And I was like, whoa, this was actually really good.
All right, well, let's move on to the last section of the week. New this week in Star Wars, etc. So Tuesday, the first book of the High Republic Phase 2 comes out, Path of Deceit. That is a prequel, technically.
Yeah, it's like 150 years before.
They just keep moving further back.
I don't know why they're doing this. Maybe we'll figure it out through the story.
Maybe it's just they needed a big gap, so they had a jumping on point for new people.
Yeah, but why go backwards? You can go forwards.
No, only backwards. Well, maybe they don't want to go forwards too far because the Acolyte is coming, and that's in their wheelhouse.
Yeah, but the Acolyte will still be like 150 years after the first phase of the High Republic.
Only 150?
So now we're going 150 backwards. Like, what are we doing? I'm assuming there's a plan, wink face, at Star Wars and Lucasfilm, because they always have a plan.
Maybe this whole thing will culminate into something fantastic, and you just have to be patient
and
read.
It's not bad. I know. A lot of people don't read it, or they hear reviews on it from people who haven't read it, and they think it's god-awful. Is it the best thing, Star Wars? No. Is it decent? Yeah, it's been decent so far.
All right. Wednesday brings us Andor Episode 5. In our Discord, we'll be having a voice chat. All patrons are welcome to come and talk about the new episode and all things Star Wars until it devolves into chaos and fun.
Yeah.
Which is a weekly event. For comics on Wednesday, Mandalorian number 4, continuing to adapt Season 1.
For reasons unknown.
Reasons. Moving on to Thursday, the 2 Walmart Andor Black Series figures are going up for pre-order at 11 a.m., supposedly, because I don't trust Walmart, and that's Central Time, sorry. It's going to be Andor, Aldhani Mission, and Imperial Officer, Dark Times.
Dark. Should have been the name of the show.
We also have Episode 8 of She-Hulk.
Oh, yes.
And maybe the plot will get further this week.
I thought it was called the Daredevil Watch until how many episodes till Daredevil? We only got 2 left. I hope he's not in it at all. That would be great.
There was a
Post-credit scene, that's it.
And it was either in our Discord or on one of the videos. The less he's in She-Hulk, the less they can mess his character up.
Yep.
So, I'm okay. I'll see him in the last half of Episode 9.
Yeah, the post-credit scene.
We also have Lord of the Rings of Power, Episode 7. And New York Comic Con begins, and it runs through Sunday. Which is, for some reason, not as big as San Diego Comic Con.
Not even close.
No. Friday, Marvel's Werewolf by Night holiday special will air. It supposedly has a runtime of about 52 minutes, from what I've read. We're going to watch it. We're going to review it. I think it's going to be fun because it's going to be so different and it's not She-Hulk.
It already gets a point for that.
You get a point for not being She-Hulk. Sunday, we have House of the Dragon, Episode 8. Also, Thor thought I should bring it up because it's funny. I poke around in a whole bunch of different Star Wars websites. Obviously, it's part of what I do. And I went to StarWars.com, and they had an article about the Star Wars Halloween stuff, and I was like, oh, that sounds fun. I'll click on that. And here, I'll put that picture up on the screen for you. I'm excited about the Star Wars themed holiday Black Series figures. And apparently they don't go on sale until November 1st, the day after Halloween.
Lucasfilm, Disney,
This upsets me
Hasbro,
greatly. I had left
Trinity.
a spot open for them to be part of my Halloween decoration.
As I see it,
and it's just not going to work.
since they come out the day after Halloween, they should be 50% off like everything else is after the day after Halloween.
Yeah, they're totally doing that. No.
Oh, they're not?
No,
Come on.
No.
Shocking. They're going to keep that, what, $27 price tag?
It was like 26 something, so yeah, 27.
Yeah, 27. Wow.
I'm sad. I mean, Target even has like a mockery,
yes.
a page up so I could buy the Clone Trooper skeleton guy, but it says it's not in stock because they haven't actually made it available yet. The other one's going to be sold by Walmart, so that's always a mixed bag.
Yeah. Probably won't ever go up for pre-order, and then you'll find it on clearance in the stores. I did see someone
online who was calling the werewolf Chewbacca a furry, and I was like, Chewbacca's always been furry. Yeah. Where you been?
Yeah, he's the first furry.
He's the OG furry.
Yeah. Oh, goodness.
I love you, Chewbacca.
Yeah, Chewbacca's great. And as was the late Peter Mayhew. But anyway, that is all we got for you this time. So take to the comments below. Tell us what you think of today's news, and let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.